Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready. The excitement has not gone away. This is going to be a crazy earnings season. So I have your nightly watch list coming into April 22nd, 2019. And there's over or just about 700 companies or so reporting this week. We got some of the big names. We got Amazon and Facebook. It is going to be exciting and kind of overwhelming. So in this watch list, I have a few, again, options I want to look at, other companies that are not reporting, which you cannot forget about, and then all of these companies that are reporting, and I'm highlighting the ones that are going to be, more important to me to watch, that at least that I'm going to be focusing on. But then there is some that have bigger market impacts and could lead us into other plays. And then don't forget now, even though this is a big week, we got the next week coming. So I'm going to break this down into something digestible. We're going to go over today and tomorrow's plays to kind of look into that. However, every day for earnings, make sure you guys are subscribed here. We're going to post the nightly watch list and we're going to go over this. And I even have some of the other ones that are reporting next week and this week that I want to talk about, so I have them here. They're still, and again, you guys are going to see the approach that I'm taking here, and you guys could go to earningswhisper.com too, but I will say sometimes it's not always on here. Make sure you go to all, but double check with companies. I've been going to Tasty Trade to make sure everything works, and you guys should check out this video as well. I just posted it, but there's some tricks with, playing volatility and stuff. I think you guys will really enjoy it, and we go over the Qualcomm play, but considering there's the earnings and all that, you should check that out. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the stream alert. So I announced that in that video, but this is kind of the formal announcement. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the plays. First things first, you guys cannot forget to do this. We need information. This is the point of these videos. Post your watch list below. What are you watching for earnings? What are you watching tomorrow? Even the plays that are not reporting, again, you're going to see how these are going to come up. So make sure you guys do that. And again, we're going to be live on stream tomorrow. We're starting 30 minutes before open. It's pinned into the description, or it's pinned in the comments. It's in the description. But why I'm saying this, because I'm putting this out a little bit earlier than I usually do, or when I'm recording this. So the problem with that is going to be, if anything, I try to record it as late as possible, because if anything develops, I'll post it. So if anything does develop, we're going to go over that pre-market. But even more importantly, there's some names we want to watch pre-market. They're going to report, and we saw what happened last week. These are going to set up an opportunity right when the market hits. You get to kind of play the earnings reaction a little bit quicker than you normally would have if it reports after hours, then pre-market, and then open. So there's that opportunity there. So let's get into it. Drop a like on the video, though. It supports the channel. Show some love. And if you like it in general, and then make sure you guys are here every night. Earnings is going to be crazy. So where should I start? I think I'm going to start with earnings. And then we're going to go, oh, wait, no, I have to talk about this announcement. I totally forgot. See, well, another quick 2 seconds. Stream alerts. We just announced it. Watch the whole video. You could hear the explanation in that, but simply, you will not miss a thing. If there is news that Qualcomm, anything, depending on the level of, it doesn't matter the level of news, we'll let you know, but I'm going to text that if I do make a trade. You're not going to get informed on the exact trade. You will know, hey, we made a trade, come to the stream. Anything happens, that way you guys will never miss a thing. And there's another cool thing within it that I want to do related to the meetups and all that. So check it out. I think you guys will like it. Make sure you watch the video. It's for the people who want there. There's nothing's changed with this stream. This is a freemium product. That's what I'm calling it. But yeah, let's get to this list now. So Amazon and Facebook, those two are important. However, do not forget about this one, Microsoft. So I have that up there, but this is going to be my favorite. And I think even for this whole earnings season, I think Microsoft might be my first favorite. I am liking Qualcomm. And again, I'm highlighting that it's next week, and you guys are going to see that was a big play last week. It was a big play last week, but it doesn't mean it's disappearing. And with their earnings coming up, think about why it's kind of holding this price and think about some of the implications there. But I really like Microsoft. That hit some highs, and we were looking at it, but the I actually got to play a few days ago, if you remember me talking about it, but we were looking at it. They're going to be expensive, but again, this is something, depending on how we open tomorrow, if it does come cheaper or whatever, but even preparing in earnings, I think this will be a good one. And what I mean by my favorite play for earnings, I think it's going to be a big move. Now, I do have some biases on these, either long or short, or up or down, more or less, but at the same time, I am going to try to set it up like if I'm already in the calls on Microsoft and I, was taking advantage of the pricing in time, but if it keeps ripping into earnings and becomes cheaper, and I see that the volatility drops on those puts and there's not too big of a premium, I'll like to go both ways. I want to highlight, and that's what I'm saying with this list of what reports tomorrow. I'm highlighting some of the ones that are more likely to give you guys the moves that you're looking for. So there's Amazon and Facebook, and that's what I'm saying along those scales. Those could have big moves. I don't think Facebook will. I'm kind of skeptical. I think they have a lot of headwinds, but I don't know if they could drop another 30% like they did. But that's going to be interesting, and watch all of these in the moves coming up to it. Part of a play you guys could all take advantage of with earnings. It didn't work on Netflix, though. It did not work as good. It's kind of working on Microsoft because I'm holding some of them, but the pre-earnings flip. It all depends on the volatility, and Qualcomm may be one of those. If people are coming in earnings, it might just gain a lot of premium. That might be where the bulk of the gains come from. So if you're able to secure stuff cheap before earnings and you notice it starts to ramp up hundreds of percent, or you notice your calls and your puts are going up, that could be a sign. It's all it's saying is volatility is very expensive. You might want to secure a bag there because it could be at least a higher point. There's a lot going for the price of that contract after the news gets released and people figure out what's going to happen, then their expectations settle and that's it. But watch those, these are the main companies. I think those are going to be good to watch. I like them all. But then, like I said, Microsoft, and then AMD, Google, and Qualcomm next week. So these have always taken a focus with us, and these are the big ones. And the important thing to note, these are the big boys. They all, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and Google, even Qualcomm, that's a large market caps between all of those. Those can have an effect on any of the broader markets, and you've seen how we've discussed that stuff too. And, tomorrow really is going to be a day of I don't know why my chart does that every time. I'll have to pull up the chart, but tomorrow's going to be a day of seeing how the market responds. I think a lot of people are going to forget some things, and that's what I'm telling you guys. Don't forget all the plays we were looking at yesterday. I think hopefully the market gets some hype into it, but that's what I'm kind of thinking. I think it's kind of cooled off. It might continue up, but watch the earnings plays. It was a weird week this week. All right, I need to get the chart. Hold on. All right, there you go. So watch how it plays into earnings. Again, we had that Monday. That was some of the earnings, and then after the first set of banks and all that, and Netflix, it's been having effects. So you want to see if it holds. We don't want the gap up and sell off, so be careful of those, but see how it prices in. And, depending on the performance of the earnings and what that does to the market, but we want to see that. But again, with this big week and the next big week, it can make a move right under your nose before it happens. So be careful with that, but pay attention. And again, too, this is earnings, you guys. It is a gamble on a lot of these plays. So a good opportunity too, you wait till after reporting. And that's what the market is really going to reflect. You see, this is what happened. Think about all the contracts that it kind of looks like contract pricing right there, but that's the S&P. So a good strategy, especially we've already seen it. This all the early reports after earnings has been a good strategy. Before has not been working. Some have hit if you got in time, but keep that in mind. And again, paper trade, do not rush this. These are gambling, and again, it's all about how the market perceives it. And that's been the case, when we look at a lot of earnings, you'll see that has been the story for a lot of stuff where good numbers, but then the expectations or the good numbers aren't good enough based on what the market perceived it as. So watch that. And again, so many companies here, but keep all those in mind. And now let's talk about, though, some of the plays that are reporting. So tomorrow morning, there's going to be a lot of noise with earnings in generals and earnings in generals. In general, there's going to be a lot of things that could move. There might be a lot of obscure names. So again, don't get bummed out. If after earnings, always go look at the option chain when the market opens, or even a 30 minutes, an hour after, and see how they valued before you get pissed off. But there is going to be a lot of companies. Some will randomly make moves, some won't. I want to highlight some, and I've posted see sometimes NEE, that one's reporting, but there's also my specialty, or what I like the companies that are very obscure. I often call those out, and people are like, how did you know that'll move? There's a lot of companies that people ignore. So again, beyond just Amazon, Facebook, and all that, make sure you guys are getting your scope. But again, after earnings is all you could all play after earnings and use this information to your advantage, though, still. So keep that in mind. But Halliburton and Whirlpool, so those are tomorrow. I think those are going to have your biggest effects in terms of just overall. market cap moves in the morning. Nothing too big. Again, it's starting off slow, but watch how that affects oil. Okay, brief cut in. Again, so many earnings. You could see I was a little confused when I explained it though, but Halliburton and Whirlpool are the ones tomorrow, but the rest, I think I said they were tomorrow, but these are all Tuesday. So watch Tuesday instead of tomorrow, but we could set up into that. So tomorrow will be a little bit slower, but we'll see. So just want to clarify that for y'all. We will see if there's any guidance or expectations. And again, like I'm saying, I could see with Halliburton what we've seen with almost every single company. There's Netflix, or which one was it? I think even a lot of the bank stocks. I'm expecting it's probably going to report good and then sell off. So watch out for that. But we'll see the broader effect. But Halliburton and Whirlpool in the morning, you guys can't play it. So the only thing is watching after, right when it opens. And these are all pre-market. So then the next ones, though, that are very important, Coca-Cola is pre-market, Twitter is pre-market, Procter & Gamble is pre-market, and JetBlue. Or actually, wait a minute. I think I might be on Tuesday. No. I think these are all, because I don't know if I included Tuesday. I think these are all tomorrow, yeah. So that's all tomorrow morning. JetBlue, and, let me start with these. Coca-Cola, we saw Pepsi. Watch that. It's a low volatility stock. So the options with Coca-Cola, depending on how it moved, Pepsi did have a move too, and they were already getting a premium coming into here. So let's see what happens with it. But that's going to be a great one. And again, I said it last week on the watch list, the value stocks are going to be the one to watch to tell us a lot about earnings. So again, don't forget about all those. But at the same time, Coca-Cola, Twitter especially, I really like Twitter. I think Twitter is going to be a good one because, again, they're surprisingly pre-market. They've been changing their metrics around, so we'll see how it reacts, but that could be one that could potentially move either off the gate and then bounce into either direction, or if just as the market digests it, upgrades or downgrades, it reports in the morning, and then we see what happens. So keep an eye out for that. I like Procter & Gamble as well, too. That's a value stock, but I might be watching that for just more information, just because I don't like the option chain. It's a low volatility stock, and even the options. However, there's a big spread on it. I just don't really like it too much, but that's going to be a good one to watch. JetBlue. So this is in the morning, and I like this one, and this is going to relate to Hawaiian Airlines, which is after hours, but that could give us some more insight into what's going on there. So watch for JetBlue and keep your eye out for that in the morning. See if it does make a move after, but that could lead to something on Hawaiian. And I do like Hawaiian too. JetBlue and the airlines, I think there could be some moves. We already saw Delta and United, and every airline kind of has their own niche. So Hawaiian, it's literally called Hawaiian Airlines. I think they brought out Frontier or Frontier bottom, one or the other, but they have just different segments and areas they service. Same thing with JetBlue and different types of stuff. So watch out for that. And there's been a lot of activity in the travel industry, especially the airplanes. However, there is now the factor of oil. Oil has been dropping or going up, and that's actually been having an effect. And again, I referred that last week with some of the German airliners and stuff that's been said. So I thought that's interesting, but keep your eye out for that and how JetBlue is going to have impact. Hasbro, it's a toy company. Again, this is a big name. You guys know this company. It's a cheaper stock. Sometimes the options could be good, but this is one that could just potentially, given the nature of the business, it could just die, or if the expectations were so low, it could really, really rock it. But watch that. It might. I was confusing this for Mattel stock price. So, but even then, Hasbro might offer something, but it can definitely move given the industry. So what do we got next? Verizon. So again, the 5G stuff, and that stuff's crazy. I thought all of you guys were tripping on that stuff. I actually looked into that a little bit more, and I'll talk about it. There's been even investor warnings about it, which was, I thought, very interesting. But watch Verizon. There's a lot of positive hype from the 5G recently. They were kind of the first mover on that, but watch communication stocks. They're not one that moves. So if there is big news, though, here's what I'll tell you. With Verizon, if nothing happens, nothing happens. But if there is some level, from the stock trading boot camp, equal opposite reactions, if there's something really big, up or down, and they can move it, or again, they report pre-market in an upgrade, downgrade, conference call, whatever comes out, this could be a good play for the options given the low volatility. And again, after the earnings expectations. So keep that in mind. Another one, Sherwin-Williams. It's a paint company, and a lot of people aren't really they don't think it's a big stock. They don't know how it moves, but I actually love Sherwin-Williams. So sometimes the options are expensive, but this thing has surprised before. I think recently, in the last couple of years, it had a big earnings surprise. So up or down, but watch though, because that could be a big mover. And again, a $500 stock, the options are going to be expensive. There is going to be big spreads. However, that could create some opportunity though. Again, it's a $500 stock. So if you could secure pretty even with some time, again, if you watch that video I posted earlier today, with some time, and if it does end up making a move, or again, similar situation of Verizon, but probably less likely. But if that does occur, this is a good one. You could pay $30 and control a $500 stock, 100 shares. I think that's what, $500,000. So not too shabby if you ask me, and I like it. So there's that. What else comes after Sherwin-Williams? Lockheed. And I got puts on that, and I'm kind of mad on it last week. Because Donald Trump said something about them bringing their price down, but they're going to report, I believe, in the morning. So watch them. That will be interesting. Again, how it even affects Boeing, NOC, and all Raytheon. And again, and we'll see Boeing, and I'm going to talk about that, but that could give us some implications, or we'll see now if it starts separating the industries, which will be good for us, especially if we are trying to trade Boeing. Knee. So this is one sometimes it's next terror, something energy. Watch though, they sometimes just massively make moves. It's a weird stock, but that's one of those obscure names. Hawaiian, Texas Instruments. I believe this one's after hours. I like it a lot. We brought it up a few times last week. There's Texas Instruments, and watch them, but also related to them now, watch Western Digital. So either, since that's going to be after hours, you could even make a play on Western Digital, watch them in tandem, or you could wait, see what Texas does, and then go from Western Digital from there. But I like that combo. I think Texas Instruments, Western Digital, that could brew something up between both of those. So we'll keep an eye out on that. CP, Canadian Pac Realty, not Realty, what am I saying? Railway. So this is travel. Again, we saw USX or CSX. We saw, I think we saw the other one, UAL. Not UAL. Wasn't there another one, or UNI or UNP, United Pacific? Man, all these companies and all the travels, man, all United this, United that. But this is going to be a good one. I said too, I don't know if it's going to be good for options. It's kind of like Sherwin-Williams. So I think maybe the same thing applies with CP, but even less likely for CP than Sherwin-Williams. Then Beat, that's kind of another obscure one that could randomly move. I'm not going to focus on that too much. And then Snap, eBay, and Harley Davidson. I don't like Harley Davidson as much. I think it has the potential if there is bigger news, but I think that is going to be one, it could give us some data. So I think it's going to be important. I don't like it to play. And then Snapchat and eBay. We saw PayPal's been killing it. A lot of times people have seen a correlation between PayPal and eBay and connected the two. PayPal's kind of gone its own way in my opinion, but watch eBay. It could be interesting. I don't think I'm going to play it. I will, again, in any of these pre-market, if things change even during the market, we'll call that out and we'll put that there, but eBay is going to be an interesting one, and I like that. And then lastly, Snapchat, and I think this is going to be a good one if the options present itself, and this is the same thing. Cheap options, and realistically, if it's been going up all year and it's looking good, it can die, and I'm sure that's what a lot of people think. However, even risk reward, if I'm saying, hey, if they do turn it around, they get there. It looks like Snapchat or Facebook, even kind of Twitter, it just took a little longer. So longer term dated contracts for a crazy earnings beat could do a lot, and you could get those cheap, but that's the only way I could mess with these cheap stocks. But be like what I'm saying is just be on the options, because you might be better off playing this, buying shares and then selling covered calls or puts if you wanted to add to it. But for options, you don't want, it's $1,100 for 100 shares. That's what one contract is representing. Essentially, what I just tell you guys about Sherwin-Williams, that's a $500 stock. 500,000 versus 1,100, but you'll spend the same $30. So think about that in terms of leveraging that. But the longer term contracts are going to be more favorable, even if they're crazy out of the money. If Snapchat turns around this year, again, market does bad and they rotate into the Snapchats and the crappy companies, at least for a little bit, but we'll see. So keep your eye out for that. And those are what's reporting. So there is some tomorrow. Again, I'm just covering the one slightly in the next week. There's a lot tomorrow, and I didn't think this would already take this long, so we'll cover those tomorrow. Again, the stream in the morning pre-market, we'll cover this all, but now the last part I want to leave you with, guys, is to not forget is the basic companies we've already been looking at, because this is what I meant when I said in the beginning of the video, don't forget, don't lose the hype, because what I'm saying is that we closed early. We're coming into it, but don't forget what was going on. It's still earnings, and those are reported in like stuff like Qualcomm has the Apple news and all that, but then now earnings coming up. This is going to do something. And again, this held up super nice considering that 30-40% move or whatever. For it to hold there, day after day, we're going to see again. So tomorrow will be very pivotal, but the longer the days go on, it'll be interesting for Qualcomm. So I still like that. I'm going to try to make a play on that. Again, I told you Microsoft I like, but the other stocks we've been watching, Disney. So you guys saw Disney, so even maybe you look out for Qualcomm to reflect this to a degree, possibly, even though they're different, but these stocks get in their zones and they start moving. Again, the markets it's very clicky, I guess. They kind of all do their own thing at certain times, and there's little trends within little groups. But again, Qualcomm and Disney are completely different. But keep that in mind, but watch Disney. Don't forget about Disney. And then lastly, don't forget about Netflix. So they just had their earnings again. People are going to price in the other stuff as the other companies report. They're all Netflix is staying the same. So you had earnings, you have more data, and less IV, and it's just staying there. So whatever move, again, there hasn't been, did the value really, are investors valuing everything exactly the same after more data? Possibly, but there could be a move there. So keep your eyes out on that. And I like that a lot because you see these are already up and going up. This is staying the same, but also watch for any inverses. So keep that in mind. And oh my gosh, I think Apple is this week too. I think I forgot about that, but I think Apple is this week or next week too. So don't kill me for not mentioning that till now, but watch that again. But don't forget about those plays in the value stocks, Home Depot, McDonald's, all those plays that we were looking at. Those are going to be the ones. And now as far as the option that I've been looking at is the May. So I won't even go out till the Junes, maybe Julys if they're going to be a little cheaper. But again, it all is going to depend how the stock moves because I already have a position. But I believe I got the May, which ones? I got May 10th. Actually, I think I got like 128s a few days ago, but I bought these for like 60 or 70 cents, I think. So I bought them for 60. I was down on them and then they came back. So if these do drop, watch those. These are ones that I like, but also, again, stuff on the weekly with Microsoft because same sort of strategy. These were up a lot. So some of these now, again, coming into next week, you got to be careful and try to find the ones that are really, really up, or if it does make a move, take advantage of that. But if this does shoot up in the morning, those could be expensive. And if it drops, I'm going to watch for that. But watch those Microsofts. Same thing, too, even now with PayPal and Disney. We cannot forget about those. And I brought up also Qualcomm and AMD's earnings next week. Don't forget about AMD and the chip makers. But here's the weirdest part about all that. You're going to have again, it's linked to Apple, Qualcomm. Qualcomm's next week. So is AMD. But then NVIDIA is still in like a month, 25 days. So watch all those. Watch how NVIDIA behaved last week. But watch PayPal. See how, again, how it's moved off of all this. And that brought up even Square too when I was looking at that. But any of the PayPal options, they're still holding their value even despite this drop. They're kind of right there at the bottom range. So if more time, depending on where they open, any other industry updates, keep an eye out for those to move. And then lastly, Roku. Don't forget about Roku. I want to keep an eye out on these. I think the contracts are just starting to really get obliterated, as you see here. It's kind of slowing down. It did bounce a little bit, but watch for that. It was a cuck all week, so it still could do it again this week, but I think it could kind of slow down with everything again, even with a move from Netflix and Disney. But keep your eye out on those options. Those are the ones I like. Again, anything from April to May. I will go over specific options on pricing for the companies that report after hours during the stream, but please watch the video on what to look for with earnings. Come to me with guidance, come to me with expectations, and at least tell me what the option chain is pricing in so we could do a lot more with that. So there's that, you guys. Get ready. Let's go. That's not the ending. I'm excited, though. Honestly, I'm really, really excited. Get your head in the game. Make sure you guys are aware of everything. Paper trade. Be on stream tomorrow. Like the video. Check out the stream alerts and get ready for pre-market. And again, you guys, don't get any FOMO on this. Go slow. Understand the learning opportunities and what you could have after earnings and the opportunities those create. I love you guys. I'll see you in the morning. Let's go for the third time.